This is so weird.
We're not using that. We're not using that. And welcome to Youth Australia.
To the Youth Australia podcast.
No, we're not using that. We're starting again. Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Youth Australia podcast. And today we have our special guest, Alfred.
This is our biggest fan. And that's going to be our intro right there.
Welcome back to the Youth Australia podcast. So excited that you can be with us as we start on our second podcast of this new journey.
So good. So good.
So good. As always, I'm Joel. We've got Levi with us today.
Oi, g'day.
And we've got Riley.
G'day.
And today we've got an interesting episode for you guys. So we're going to be talking about conspiracy theories.
It's a sign.
The Illuminati is real. No. Specifically, we're going to be talking about some of the dangers that conspiracy theories pose.
Definitely.
Especially from sort of a spiritual perspective. One of the things that we've seen as sort of the Discord has grown, and we've met a lot more people from different walks of life and different views of Christianity, is that there's a lot of people that hold interesting views about the world, shall we say. And we're not here to debunk your views or to criticize your views, but we want to sort of just talk about
being careful with your own
being
views.
Careful, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And how to be discerning in order to, as you're how to be discerning as you're figuring out what it is that you actually believe. So, should we just start off? What are some fun conspiracy theories that you guys have heard
Oh,
that you're like, oh, that's kind of cool?
Well, there's the classic 5G towers.
that's
That's a classic, absolute classic.
5G
5G
towers started Corona.
Yep.
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 That's a classic right there.
That's a classic right there.
What else?
The Earth was it off the back of a turtle? Was that I could
That
was
isn't
the
that
theory?
isn't that from a Stephen King story?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, ignore that one then.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, I haven't heard that one.
But the Earth is flat. There's
Flat Earthers.
flat
yeah.
Earthers.
Australia doesn't exist.
We're paid actors who don't get paid.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I
Where's
mean, we have free healthcare.
oh.
Oh, that just adds to the theory. Oh no!
Oh no.
It's all coming together, guys. We're in Canada.
Yes.
We love our Canadians out there.
Maple syrup.
Maple syrup.
It is a very-
I'm trying to think of some fun ones because, like, everyone always goes like the dark ones. You know, the moon landing was
Yeah.
fake, and
Oh, yeah, bangers.
you know, all of those. I'm trying to think of like, what's one that's
We got to look some up.
I'm doing that right now.
the air in the chip bags. You know that there's too much air in the chip bags in order so they put less chips in.
That's true.
So that's a pretty big conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Searching some right now just so we can get some examples because we're crazy. These are very crazy ones. Oh damn! I'm not gonna say them out loud.
Probably for the best.
No, for safety reasons and demonetization, we won't talk about them.
Oh, there's also Anonymous and Illuminati as well.
True.
course.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a big one. That's a big one. Yeah.
It's very interesting just how conspiracy theories work because
Yeah.
it's designed that you want to believe them and it's easy to
It's easy to fall into the trap of going, "Oh, that makes sense to me."
yeah, well, it's got to be real.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there any conspiracy theory that you guys have looked at and you've gone, "Oh, that's kind of interesting"?
There is one. It was, what was it? I think it was that China has been like secretly manipulating America for like the past 20 years or something, and slowly going into like a secret Cold War or something.
Okay.
I know that's a pretty far-fetched conspiracy theory, and I try not to believe it, but it definitely seems very easy to go, well, actually, this happened and this happened, so that actually kind of makes sense. What's going on here?
So,
Yeah.
so what do you guys think are the main kind of things that attract people to conspiracy theories? Because obviously, there's a ton of people that believe some pretty crazy things. I mean, look, or flat earthers. I mean, that's a massive massive
crazy
community of people. And we don't want to offend anyone, but we're going to take a stand right here and say, that's not right. The Earth is in fact round. But there's so many people that believe that. So why do you guys think that it's so attractive for people?
I think it's more of just some ideas are so crazy that you want to believe it. And it kind of makes you go, oh, I really hope that's true. It must be true. Because I want it to be true in a way, even if it's crazy. We've had science prove for a while now that the Earth is indeed round. And we just don't want to, some people just don't want to believe it because it just sounds so much better that the concept of the Earth being flat, like it's mental.
Kind of like wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking, yeah.
Yeah. I think there's also a part of it that's kind of special knowledge in the sense that, like, I know something that everybody else doesn't.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Like, and it's something that's special about me. And I think another part of it is that it creates a community for people. And sometimes people who maybe don't feel accepted in other communities can find acceptance in, something like that. Like-minded communities. I
told him I'd sneak it in. Sorry, boys. Sorry.
But yeah, so that's part of it.
I think another part might be, people, once they start to believe in these things or start thinking about them, once they've kind of publicly announced that of their belief in this thing, it's kind of hard to revert and turn around because you've already said it and you don't really want to
you don't want to
be wrong.
You don't want to go, by the way, I done goofed there.
Because that can be like a sort of very embarrassing thing for certain communities and people as well to admit that they're publicly
True.
wrong.
And that's actually something that's not very accepted in society at the moment.
Yeah.
Like you look at like cancel culture, that's taking a tweet from someone, in a lot of cases it's taking a tweet or something that someone said 6 years ago and then cancelling them based on that when opinions can change. And it seems like in today's society it's quite, you're not really allowed to change your opinion on things.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good point. And once you've taken that step of publicly saying, I believe in this, then it can be hard to
back off. Yeah,
definitely
to back off on that.
Going back onto the idea of, oh, that sounds so good, I want it to be true. I was just on my phone there just to get the story right. But there was a big story about who was it? The Phil Collins song "In the Air Tonight."
Oh yeah.
And how it was written because he saw a man who could have saved a man from drowning but didn't. And then for a while everyone went, "Oh, that's so crazy. That's why this song was written." But it wasn't, and Phil Collins did confirm this. I don't remember what it was actually for, but there was a massive theory about that and how it had to be true because it sounds so much better that way.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't want to go, oh, well, maybe it's not true. Maybe I should search a bit more into it. They just want to go, oh, actually, that sounds so good. I wanted to believe it.
Do you think that social media has played a role in sort of how quickly misinformation can spread?
100%. Legit though, like the way, social media is built so that it automatically navigates you into like-minded communities.
Right.
It learns your preferences, it learns your tastes and interests, and it navigates you to those pages, websites, people, whatever that are similar, so that you feed off the content and enjoy those things. Gets you to use the app more.
Especially advertisements.
Definitely.
Sure.
But with social media, it can be super duper easy for a news site to report something, and then a news site to report on that, news site to report on that, and before you know it,
It's
the whole internet is playing Chinese whispers.
Sure.
That's it. Yeah.
Do you think it's also conducive to sort of creating echo chambers where people only sort of interact with people that they agree with, because there's such an opportunity to find people that you agree with and not have to, you know, in real life, it's a lot harder to find someone who agrees exactly on every point that you agree on.
I think it's, let's say you think of it, you found out a theory and you go, oh, that must be true, and you want to wholeheartedly believe it. But then the people around you go, that's crazy. What are you doing? It then kind of makes you go, oh, I'm not sure if I want to be with them right now because I don't agree with what I'm saying. I want to find a group that does, and social media is the best place to find that, for sure. Where they can just, a quick search on Google, Facebook, Instagram, any of that, you'll find exactly what you want to know about, not the truth about it.
Right, and it's a lot easier because of the amount of sources that it provides. It's a lot easier for someone to find something that agrees with them. You know, take anti-vaxxing. You know, someone can search that up and can find, you know, a blog post or maybe some scientific study that somewhat agrees with their position on that. Whether it's true or not, and whether it's independently verified is another thing.
I think, and going off that as well, I think there's another really important thing as well, that with today, because obviously people are going to do their research if they think of something, and they're going to search on Google. Most likely, you know, 9 out of 10 times they'll click the first or second link. I'm a culprit of that. I do that as well. Don't worry.
Third link or below.
Yeah,
is dangerous.
You
area.
never go to the second page. You never.
Ooh, that's dangerous stuff right there.
But you must be desperate to go to the second page of Google. But I think it's also really important because there's so many opinions on the internet. Sometimes we can mistake those opinions for fact.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we can base everything off those opinions, or they seem like fact. It can be very hard actually to find proper fact on the internet, because even if you find like a published book or something, that can still be an opinion. Yeah, it's very hard to find the actual proper fact on the internet.
Yeah.
The other thing is, a lot of published books I've read for my course and everything, they then at the end, the references they've used for theirs.
Yes.
And it's just like a trail of where they've got the info. Where does it end? Where does it start? Where's it?
It will never end.
Exactly.
And you can go back and you can verify, you know, that stuff has been...
Exactly. But they've got that from another source, and then you go on that link, it's from another source.
It's a lot of...
And it's just down the rabbit hole of where did that source actually come from?
Yep.
Because I looked for the proper link for an assignment, and I think I went to like 7 different books.
Wow.
It was crazy.
It's a good way to get sources though for an assignment.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
I might do that.
So, I mean, look, we're talking about this from a Christian perspective, obviously, and unfortunately, it is true that there are large parts of the Christian community that engage in certain conspiracy theories. So, I think we want to talk about some of the danger of that from a spiritual perspective, and I think there's a couple of factors. There's both an individual factor and then a social factor as Christians. I think the individual factor is that conspiracy theories come from a place of conspiracy theories, especially if they're unproven, untenable, come from a place of untruth. They're not true, but they present themselves as truth. And if you've been in church a while, you'll probably recognize someone else who presents himself as truth, but is not actually truth, and that is, of course, Satan. And we're talking about the devil, but but
Christian podcast we're allowed to.
Christian podcast, but like, and that is a real thing. I mean, that's what wherever you stand theologically on the devil, whether he's a real person or whether it comes down to an embodiment of untruth, because God is truth. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So the minute you separate from that, then there isn't truth, and God's not in there. And I think there's a problem with conspiracy theories, and why I'm so careful of jumping in as well, because then it's if you understand that God is truth, then the goal should be to find truth in everything.
Definitely.
And I think there's a lot of conspiracy theories that are just founded on I feel this way, or it should be this way, or this would make so much more sense.
Yeah.
Or rather than on evidence and on a firm foundation of truth. And then I think the other things, that's sort of the individual side. From the social side, Christians, our one sort of big command that Jesus gave us was to go into all the world and preach the gospel. We are to make available the gospel, which is that Jesus came, Jesus died, and he rose again. Mere Christianity, that sentiment. Unfortunately, a lot of people that I've seen don't follow that mere Christianity, but become tied up in a conspiracy or in a certain branch of theology, and it becomes very confronting for people who are non-Christians.
That's it. Yeah.
To deal with that. It's because unfortunately, the burden of proof is on us. Unfortunately, that's the way the world is. I wish it wasn't, but the burden of proof is on us to prove God and to prove that Christianity is a way of life that works. And unfortunately, if you subscribe to some crazy conspiracy theory, it makes you seem very very out there in the eyes of anyone else. And how can they trust you on God if you're following an untruth?
That's it. Yeah.
In other areas of your life.
Definitely.
Along with that, it's the conspiracy theories. When following those, especially with a Christian concept, you then kind of, as we talked about earlier, get into those groups of people that also believe the same thing, which kind of leaves you trapped in that circle of you're not preaching that to anyone, you're just kind of talking about it with people that also believe that. And that's not going to help people learn to know Jesus. That's just going to keep people going, oh, look at those people over there believing that rubbish when it's not true.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of people, we're talking about the search for truth and stuff. I know a lot of people might be sitting there going, but hang on, why shouldn't I follow the conspiracy theory if the conspiracy theory is truth? I mean, it's a search for truth. But the search for truth has to be built on the principles of truth and built on a solid foundation of evidence and facts and logic and the idea of finding objective truth, not just subjective truth. I don't know if we talked about this maybe in our social media episode, that like truth is changing in the world.
I think so.
It's becoming less objective and more subjective, as in, we can determine our own truth.
That's right.
But that doesn't work if you're trying to find truth.
I had something earlier to say, but I just forgot it. That's right. I'd even go as far to say as, if you believe or think in this conspiracy theory, like some conspiracy theories make valid points, some don't, some could alter a lot of things, some don't. I suppose also think, if the conspiracy theory was right, how would that benefit Christianity? How would that benefit the human race? How would that benefit the community? How would that benefit the opportunity for evangelism in your community?
Yes.
Like things like the flat earth. If the flat earth was right, great. We still need to love our community. We still need to share the gospel. How does the earth being a disc instead of a sphere change any of that?
Yeah.
It, like, just to prove that you're right, like, we still need to focus on evangelism and sharing the gospel and, speaking the truth from the Bible, of course.
I think there's a case to be made for that same sentiment to be made about all sort of radical theology.
Definitely.
Does it actually bring people to Christ? I mean, I've sort of looked at this in my own life, because I grew up very interested in science and trying to sort of wrap my head around that from a biblical perspective. Sort of, read a lot about creationism and 6 days creationism and all of that. But eventually I came to a point where I realized, well, hang on, does this actually lead people to Christ?
Yeah.
Is this actually something that people are, if I convince someone that the earth was created in 6 days, 6 literal days, does that lead them to Christ?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
I remember.
Maybe not. And that might even be a humongous stumbling block to them.
Definitely. Yeah, I remember at my life groups, with my life group leader, I think it was last year, we were talking about kind of things like that similar in the Bible, like, when was creation? Was it 1 million years ago? Was it 140,000 years ago? Or was it 7,000 years ago? Like all those kind of time periods. And like people were discussing it, people were pointing out different verses in the Bible and talking and explaining about it. And I remember thinking the whole time, I mean, what does it change how long ago the Bible was made? It still applies to us today. It's still truth in the Word of God in our community today.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that, yeah.
And of course, you can probably find minor details as to what that would change. But it once again goes back to the statement of, does that affect what we believe?
Yeah.
Like someone could say, oh, this actually happened 10,000 years ago, not 9,000. Great. And
yeah.
What do you want us to do about that? And then it's just them going, oh, well, believing that instead, will do. Off you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't help.
I love C.S. Lewis. I love his writings, but I love the phrase that he coined, mere Christianity. Yeah, I think as Christians, we can get so tied up in our denomination or our particular branch of theology or, something like that. But that idea of just, no, Jesus came, Jesus died, he rose again to save us from our sins.
Yeah.
There are some fundamental tenets of Christianity and that's what joins us and unifies us. And that's actually the message for the world, that there is hope, that there is something beyond this drudgery of a world that we live in. There is hope, there is joy. I mean, that's what the gospel is. It's good news. And yeah,
it's been way too many times, not just on Youth Australia, but on so many other Christian Discord servers that I'm in, how many times Christians talk to other Christians about how their theology is wrong or this part of what you believe in is wrong. It's like, you both believe in Jesus, all right? And when it goes to those super minor details, like we were just saying before, does it really change if you believe in Jesus or not?
Yeah.
Does it really change if you're spreading his love into the world or not?
Yeah.
It's, very finicky.
I think the problem with that too is another danger is reading stuff out of context.
Oh, yes.
So when it comes to the Bible especially, a lot of people take one look at a verse and they go, oh, well, that's it, isn't it?
That's it.
We've got our answer. But then the verse after it will tell you something completely different.
Yeah.
But we're not going to look at that verse. We're just going to look at this one singular verse and that's our answer. It's not helpful to us in a way of finding an answer that it's not even just the truth, it's just finding what they want to know.
The other thing about the Bible is that you got to remember is when you're discussing with people is that it's a historical book written at a historical time for a historical purpose. And it's also written in a completely different language.
That's it, yeah.
That's the other thing.
It's not written in English.
It's not written in English, guys. Sorry.
Hate to break that to you. Conspiracy theory again. What was the Bible written in?
What was the Bible written in? Hebrew and Greek. There you go.
There you are.
But because of that, there are things that come across different in translation. I mean, I remember there is Ecclesiastes. There's this famous phrase: "Meaningless, meaningless. Everything is meaningless." That's how it's translated in the New International Version, and a lot of English translations follow the same thing. But the actual Hebrew word means formless, misty, shapeless, ungraspable, unobtainable.
Wow.
If you take that context of mist and you can't grab it, it doesn't mean that everything is meaningless, and like we take it as like everything is meaningless. Oh, bother.
Yeah.
Well, damn. Yeah.
It's like everything is out of our reach. That's got a completely different
You're right.
kind of connotation.
Definitely.
So there's that. The other thing is some things in the Bible, there's historical texts that are not written for instruction. They're written as actual histories. So if you look at those and it's like, haha, David did this. Well, David did some pretty strange things. So maybe let's not take him as an example of the best thing to do as a Christian.
Yeah.
There are books written for instruction. Paul's writings, the Gospels are written to help people understand Jesus. But yeah, you got to take the context and the purpose for which the text was written.
Definitely.
For sure. On that. Do you want to say it?
No, you go for it.
Okay, cool. So, Riley and I, we do the same course, and we did a bit of a Bible study for the first half of the year, and we referred to a book, and it was called Them, Us, and Me, and how the Old Testament speaks to people of today. That was written by, I'm going to get it here, Jacqueline Gray, and basically the story was, does the Bible verse that we're looking at, as an example, just any random Bible verse, how does it affect them? So the time it was written, us now, and then you personally. All those three things will be a different answer. And we need to look at that when looking at the Bible, because we could be like, oh, it says this about slavery. That's for them. For us today, we don't have slavery around here. And then we have a personal view of it.
Battery's getting low.
Battery's getting low.
Yeah.
Are we running out? Sorry. I was like looking at the camera.
I was trying to subtly say.
Yes, I'll
Battery's getting
sum it
low.
up quickly. Yeah, we need to look at that when searching for the Bible, reading through it. Use the Bible as a pointer towards God.
Yep.
Don't use it as God.
Yes, that's another.
That's
really important point.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The Bible itself can. Yeah.
It's very-
That's what we were in
Whoa.
class. Think of it as a
Wow.
sign to the destination.
I love that.
I think it's safe to say we are all very, what's the word? Very, I don't know what the word is. Guilty, I suppose. Very guilty of, at some point, elevating the Bible above God. I know I have done it.
Wow, never thought about it that way.
Yeah, because it's very easy, because the Bible is one of the very few things, very physical things in the world that we have from God today. So it's very easy to look at that instead of God, or look at that more than God, I suppose.
Wow.
The term we had from our teacher that taught us was put it on a stand, not a podium. Sorry, put it on a podium, not a throne.
Yeah.
Mm.
Love Matt.
Fantastic. Well, we've got a bit everywhere in this podcast.
Yeah.
But it's been fantastic and a great conversation. I mean, this is at least what I really love about the podcast is just having a discussion.
Yeah.
We don't plan it beforehand.
We don't plan it beforehand.
we got to this podcast to do something, and then we went, oh, actually, let's do this one today.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It really is just like a conversation between us three.
That's it, yeah.
About these issues and what we think about. So, yeah.
And of course, sorry, something to add. In the Discord, we also do have a podcast discussions channel. So if you want to talk about anything that we've mentioned in the podcast, something that you found enlightening or something that you thought you want to talk about a bit more, please feel free to talk about it in the Discord. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
I know the battery's dying, but one more thing is we're not perfect as well. We might have said something wrong today where you've got, actually, this happened then there. Feel free to pull us up on it,
Yeah.
to be honest. We want to know that what we're telling you is right, rather than us just going, oh, look at us go, giving the right answer every week.
That's the other thing is I'm hoping to add sort of a quick fact check section at the end of each podcast if we start talking about things. So hope to see that soon. We'll go back after and listen to it and go just check sort of what we've looked at, and also give resources that we talk about to you guys, so you can
For sure.
look that up.
The
Bible, yeah. But thank you guys for joining us this week. Hope you enjoyed it. It's fantastic to be back here with you again, and all that remains is for Riley to say,
Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified of all of our uploads.
Fantastic.
So good.
And yes, please subscribe and share it with your friends. The more people that subscribe, the more...
We want to mention now, we're not doing this for our own gain.
no.
We're doing this so we can spread something onto
Yes.
someone else.
Yes. Yeah. And if you've got questions, please give us questions because we'd love to answer them and love to interact with you guys on that. So, yeah.
So good.
Awesome.
We will see you guys next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye.